You're digging through a dusty box of old TV guides from 1975 when bizarre cartoon titles jump out at you. The 1970s produced 15 underrated cartoons you forgot even existed. Hidden gems with names so weird you'd think someone made them up. 15. The New Adventures of Gilligan. When Gilligan's Island ended in 1967, fans thought they'd seen the last of the bumbling first mate and his fellow castaways. But in 1974, Filmation brought them back as cartoons, with most of the original cast returning to voice their animated selves. The show followed the same formula, Gilligan's well-meaning mistakes constantly sabotaging rescue attempts, while the castaways dealt with pirates, headhunters, and mysterious island phenomena. What made this adaptation special was how naturally the sitcom's physical comedy translated to animation. Gilligan could survive even more outrageous slapstick as a cartoon, and the island could feature impossible geography and magical elements that live action couldn't achieve. 14. Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch. In 1974, Hanna-Barbera created the ultimate good versus evil story using anthropomorphic vehicles. Wheelie was a heroic Volkswagen Beetle who constantly battled the Chopper Bunch, a gang of villainous motorcycles led by Chopper himself. Each episode featured high-speed chases, racing competitions, and mechanical mayhem as Wheelie used his wit and speed to outmaneuver the motorcycle gang. The show perfectly captured the 1970s car culture obsession, turning vehicles into personalities with distinct characteristics. Wheelie spoke in squeaks and beeps, while the Chopper Bunch had full dialogue delivered with motorcycle revving sound effects. The animation showcased impressive vehicle choreography with elaborate chase sequences that made every race feel cinematic. 13. The Oddball Couple. Taking the classic Neil Simon play and The Odd Couple TV series, Hanna-Barbera reimagined the mismatched roommate concept with Spiffy, a neat freak cat, and Fleabag, a slob dog, living together in a downtown apartment. The 1975 adaptation maintained the original's sophisticated humor while making it accessible to children. The show brilliantly translated adult relationship comedy into animal behavior, with Spiffy's obsessive cleanliness contrasting perfectly with Fleabag's chaotic lifestyle. Episodes dealt with real roommate issues, paying rent, dating problems, career struggles, but filtered through the lens of anthropomorphic pets navigating human society. Voice actors Frank Welker and Paul Winchell brought genuine chemistry to their characters, creating believable friendship beneath the constant bickering. 12. Devlin. Hanna-Barbera took a risk in 1974 with Devlin, an action-adventure series about three orphan siblings who performed motorcycle stunts for a traveling circus. Unlike typical Saturday morning fare, the show dealt with serious themes of family responsibility, economic hardship, and the dangers of professional stunt work. Ernie Devlin led his younger siblings Todd and Sandy through elaborate motorcycle performances while searching for steady work and permanent homes. Episodes featured genuine emotional stakes as the family faced financial problems, dangerous stunts, and the constant threat of being separated by social services. The show's realistic approach to family drama was unusual for children's animation, addressing issues like poverty and abandonment without sugarcoating them. 11. The Skatebirds. In 1977, Hanna-Barbera captured the emerging skateboard culture with The Skatebirds, a variety show hosted by anthropomorphic birds who performed skateboarding tricks between cartoon segments. The main hosts, Satchel, Scooter, and Knock Knock, delivered comedy sketches and introduced other cartoons while showcasing impressive skateboarding animation. The show was remarkably ahead of its time, recognizing skateboarding as a legitimate sport and cultural movement years before it became mainstream. The bird characters had distinct personalities and performed tricks that were accurate to real skateboarding techniques, showing genuine respect for the sport rather than treating it as a fad. Between hosting duties, The skatebirds appeared in their own adventure segments, using their skateboarding skills to solve problems and fight crime. 10. Clue Club. Hanna-Barbera's 1976 attempt to create another mystery-solving franchise resulted in Clue Club, featuring 4 teenagers and 2 bloodhounds investigating crimes with genuine detective work. Unlike Scooby-Doo's supernatural themes, Clue Club focused on realistic mysteries solved through observation, deduction, and the dog's tracking abilities. Larry, Dee Dee, Pepper, and Dottie formed a competent detective team that actually used logic and evidence to solve cases. Their bloodhounds, Woofer and Whimper, provided both comic relief and crucial investigative assistance, tracking scents and uncovering clues that human characters missed. The show's strength lay in its respect for mystery storytelling conventions, presenting solvable puzzles that viewers could work through alongside the characters. 9. Jabberjaw. Hanna-Barbera's 1976 series Jabberjaw combined underwater adventure with rock music, following a 15-foot air-breathing shark who drummed for the Neptunes, a teenage band in the year 2076. The shark's personality was inspired by Rodney Dangerfield, constantly complaining, "I don't get no respect," while solving underwater mysteries. Set in a future where humans lived in underwater cities, the show featured impressive world building with detailed aquatic civilizations and futuristic technology. The Neptunes traveled between underwater venues, inevitably encountering villains who threatened their performances or the undersea communities they visited. Jabberjaw's character was surprisingly endearing, balancing his complaints about lack of respect with genuine loyalty to his human bandmates. 8. The Herculoids. Hanna-Barbera's 1967 series, The Herculoids, continued into the 70s as one of animation's most sophisticated science fiction adventures. Set on the planet Quasar, the show followed Xandor, Terra, and their son Dorno as they protected their world alongside powerful creature allies, including Zoc the Dragon, Egu the Rock Ape, and Gloop and Gleep. The series featured serious action-adventure storytelling with minimal comedy, treating its alien setting with genuine respect. Episodes dealt with complex threats including invading armies, mad scientists, and interdimensional dangers that required both strategy and strength to overcome. The creature designs were imaginative and functional, with each Herculoid possessing unique abilities that contributed to the team's effectiveness. The animation showcased impressive alien landscapes and technology, creating a believable science fiction universe. 7. Space Ghost. Before becoming a talk show host parody, Space Ghost was a legitimate superhero in Hanna-Barbera's 1966 series that continued through the 70s. The cosmic crime fighter patrolled the galaxy with teenage sidekicks Jan and Jace plus their pet monkey Blip, battling alien threats with his power bands and phantom cruiser. The show treated superhero storytelling seriously, featuring genuine action-adventure plots without the self-aware humor that would later define the character. Space Ghost faced credible threats including Brak, Zorak, and other recurring villains who posed real dangers to galactic peace. The animation was surprisingly sophisticated for its era, with detailed space battles and alien worlds that created a convincing science fiction universe. The character design was iconic, with Space Ghost's costume and abilities clearly defined and consistently portrayed. 6. The Galaxy Goof-Ups. In 1978, Hanna-Barbera launched The Galaxy Goof-Ups, featuring Yogi Bear, Huckleberry Hound, Scare Bear, and Quack Up as incompetent Space Patrol officers. The series brilliantly subverted expectations by acknowledging the characters' complete unsuitability for their jobs while using their failures as comedy gold. The show was remarkably self-aware, with characters frequently commenting on their own incompetence and the absurdity of their situations. Episodes featured the team accidentally solving crimes and saving the galaxy despite their best efforts to mess everything up, creating a unique comedy dynamic. The space setting allowed for creative visual gags and science fiction parody that wouldn't have worked in terrestrial settings. The familiar Hanna-Barbera characters brought established personalities to new situations, creating fresh comedy from well-known traits. 5. Bailey's Comets. One of the most unique concepts in 70s animation, Bailey's Comets, followed a roller derby team competing in a global race around the world in 1973. The show combined sports action with international adventure as teams from different countries competed in elaborate roller skating challenges across diverse terrains and cultures. Each episode featured the Comets facing off against themed opponent teams while navigating geographical obstacles and cultural differences. The international scope allowed for creative world building and educational content about different countries and customs, wrapped in exciting sports competition. The roller derby action was expertly animated, with fluid skating sequences that captured the speed and athleticism of the sport. 4. Wait Till Your Father Gets Home. Hanna-Barbera's 1972 experiment in adult-oriented animation, Wait Till Your Father Gets Home, tackled contemporary social issues through the lens of suburban family life. The show dealt with generation gaps, political differences, and cultural changes affecting American families in the early 70s. Alice and Harry Boyle navigated parenting challenges with their 3 children, each representing different aspects of changing youth culture. Episodes addressed real issues including Vietnam War protests, women's liberation, environmental concerns, and racial integration with surprising sophistication for animated television. The show's willingness to engage with controversial topics set it apart from typical family sitcoms, animated or otherwise. The Groovy Ghoulies Filmation's 1970 monster variety show, The Groovy Ghoulies, combined classic horror characters with contemporary music and comedy, creating a unique entertainment format that was decades ahead of its time. The show featured Frankie, Wolfie, Drac, and other monster musicians performing rock songs and comedy sketches from their haunted mansion. The series brilliantly parodied both classic horror movies and variety show formats, creating a self-aware comedy that appealed to multiple age groups. Musical numbers were genuinely catchy, with professional quality songs that worked as both parody and legitimate entertainment. The animation style captured both the spooky atmosphere of classic horror and the bright energy of variety shows, creating a visual balance that made monsters friendly without losing their essential character traits. 2. Josie and the Pussycats in Outer Space. Hanna-Barbera's 1972 sequel to Josie and the Pussycats transported the all-girl rock band into space for galactic adventures that were surprisingly progressive for their era. When the band was accidentally launched into space, they became intergalactic travelers helping alien civilizations while searching for a way home. The series featured female characters in leadership roles, with Josie, Valerie, and Melody solving problems through intelligence, creativity, and cooperation, rather than relying on male rescue. Episodes dealt with themes of cultural understanding, environmental protection, and peaceful conflict resolution, using the band's musical talents to bridge communication gaps with alien species. 1. Fritz the Cat. Ralph Bakshi's 1972 adaptation of Robert Crumb's Underground comic became the first animated feature to receive an X rating, proving that cartoons could tackle adult themes with the same sophistication as live-action films. The movie followed Fritz, a hedonistic cat navigating 1960s counterculture through explicit adventures that challenged every assumption about animated entertainment. The film's success opened doors for adult animation that wouldn't be fully explored until decades later. Fritz demonstrated that animation could handle complex social commentary, sexual themes, and political satire without losing artistic credibility or entertainment value. The 70s were animation's experimental decade, producing forgotten gems that pushed boundaries and explored new formats decades before they became mainstream, which deserves a modern revival.